Hello everybody, welcome back. It is me, your old pal Orpheus, with another adventure here on Orpheus Plays. Yes, it's another wonderful day for murder here in the world of Blade and Sorcery. We are in the Sanctuary today, the bombed out church, love it, and today I wanted to talk about something. Look, I promised you that I wouldn't talk about news unless something really specific happened. And it's happened, so we're going to talk about that today here on Blade and Sorcery and Orpheus Plays. I hope you're doing well wherever you are today, whether it is day or night. I don't mind as long as you're here with me, just hanging out. Anyway, let's see. We are in survival mode. 3 weapons come out, or 3 things come out. This isn't really a weapon. And I choose one, and I destroy everything that presents itself to me. So let's get things kicked off. Yeah. Shield or a pitchfork. I think I have to go for the pitchfork. I'm gonna bale me some hay real quick. Human hay. Anyway, so let's get our first traditional slow motion kill out of the way. Here we go. Who do I choose? I think I'll go for you. Ultra slow motion, and we're gonna just stick you real good. He's still alive. He's looking at me, I can tell. Oh, wait a minute. What's going on? What? Hello, come on. You're embarrassing me. Oh, this is taking so long. Really? Oh, come on! I picked a bad weapon to do this with. There we go. And now with that out of the way, jeez, let's get to today's topic. Okay. So in all my videos, whenever I pride this channel on being drama-free, like I don't talk about like the internet drama going on. I don't talk about who's doing what and what they said and oh my gosh, did you see this news story about this or that or whatever. I don't do that stuff. And there's a reason why. It's because I know that people come to YouTube sometimes just to chill out, or to X or whatever. They just come wherever you're watching this. Because I sometimes post these on X, but anyway. I keep this channel drama free because I know that people come for entertainment and to just chill out, right? I know that you love to come and watch these videos because it just gives you a chance to unplug, unwind, just watch our awful carnage go on where I beat the heck out of people. Oh, jeez. And where you get to see me just kind of talk about whatever silly thing that's on my mind or some stupid story from my past or something like that. And it's always, fun for me to just kind of hang out with you and tell these stories. And I know it's fun for you guys to hang out with me and hear the stories and stuff. And so that's what I try to do. Well, the same vein that I don't talk about news, I've always kind of said... I've always said something really specific when it comes to news. I said I'll never cover the news unless it's something like a big asteroid coming at us. Well, guess what? There is a big asteroid coming right at us. And I don't mean to alarm anybody. But it could do some pretty significant damage if it strikes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly go over my history with asteroids. And I want to... I kind of want to go through and talk about this because it's a little freaky, so we'll get this chatting going about this. So the thing is, when I was younger, and if you've seen my recent episode on space, the space race, you'll kind of get the point that I really love everything space. I love to just read about it. I love to watch videos and documentaries and stuff. I love movies about space. I have entire sections of my Plex server, which is my media server, which I have like 500 movies. Anyway, my Plex server, I have an entire section that's just for space movies. And it's because I love the idea of big open space that's just out there and waiting for us to discover it and everything. Well, one of the things that automatically comes along with loving space is you start to realize that there are some horrible things out there in the universe. Some terrifying things, like black holes that are larger than our solar system, stuff like that. Like that's pretty freaky to me to think about something like that. or stars that are so large that you can't even comprehend their actual size. You know what I'm saying? Like, these things that go on in the universe that are just amazing, that we discover things all the time that are, you know, unknown to us and mysterious, and what we thought was impossible is not, and things like that. So, of course, when we talk about space and danger, we have to talk about asteroids, right? We have to talk about asteroids, right? And the thing that makes it so terrifying is we've been looking for asteroids for a while, okay? We as a human race have been looking out there at the stars, and we've decided we want to start taking a look out there to see if anything's dangerous. And so we have a whole bunch of systems out there that are designed to look for asteroids and for comets, you know, to look for anything that might be a threat to the human race, okay? So we've compiled these lists, and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, NASA, these are places that do this. And they have these lists that are all the known asteroids that are out there, and there are thousands that we know about, but the scary part is there are tens of thousands, maybe even more, that we don't know about. Now, if you've ever seen an animation of all the asteroids that are around us, the comets in the solar system, where'd my sword go? There it is. And I'll try to show it right here. If I get to it, I get to it. If I don't, I don't. I'll try to find at least an image of it, so right there. This is the freakiest thing you can ever think of right here. It's because there are so many objects out there that we just, you know, they're just swirling around, and they occasionally bump into each other, and then they occasionally come flying at us from the middle of nowhere. There was an interstellar visitor, kind of like an asteroid. It actually probably was an asteroid, called Oumuamua. And this was one that came in at this really weird angle into our solar system. It came in like down like this and then swooped back out. And it was really weird because it came out of nowhere. And it was this visitor that was just going to be in our solar system for a little while, and then it would go flying back out into space. Well, that kind of woke us up a little bit. Well, the thing is, when I was younger, I used to watch those lists, the near-Earth orbit asteroid list, okay? And it was this list, it is this list that's compiled by Jet Propulsion that says, here's the number of asteroids that are known, and here is how likely they are to hit the planet. And there's this thing called the Torino scale. Now, the Torino scale is a cumulative number, right? It's an expression of the overall risk of impact, and not just that, but the risk, how bad it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much it can screw up the planet. And there was one years ago that was called Bennu? Was it? No, it was Apophis. Asteroid Apophis. And they discovered it. And they saw, from projecting the orbits and stuff over the years, that it was going to come back in 2029. And this is still happening, by the way. This asteroid is going to come and pass real close to us, close enough to be inside the orbit of satellites that are around our planet. You'll be able to actually see it with your naked eye, which is freaky as hell. But they said on this list, on this near-Earth object list, that this asteroid, Apophis, was going to come close to us, and if it went through this little tiny gravitational keyhole, which it still has a chance to do, if something weird happens to it, it would come back and it would strike us the next time that it was coming through. Well, that gets pretty weird to think about. And when they first discovered it, they had like this, it was a pretty good chance. It was a pretty good percentage chance of hitting us. And the world lost our fucking mind, okay? The world suddenly was like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? This huge thing is coming at us. We're basically screwed as a species. But what they did is they started looking at it some more. They started watching its orbit. They started tracking it. They started seeing what it had going on with it. And they discovered it went down to a zero, basically. Now, we still have to worry about that gravitational keyhole. Okay, so if it comes back and it goes through that thing, we're kind of screwed, but we're pretty certain it's not going to do that. The thing is, though, The solar system and the Oort cloud that surround us, where all the comets and the asteroids mostly come from, left over from the formation of our solar system. Well, these comets and asteroids have a random factor that goes with them, obviously, which means that they can be hit by something else, or the sun can warm them a little bit on a certain side. They can get nudged by gravity by something, which is kind of that gravitational keyhole. But that's something that we directly know about. We can't go ahead and account for all the different variables that come out there in the solar system. We can't account for ones that are coming from outside of our solar system. And so we're always on guard for this thing. We're always looking out. The thing is, though, we've discovered not very many of the... what the hell? We've discovered not very many of these things in our solar system. Now, when I say discovered, I mean we're not able to track them because we just don't know if they're there or not. There are asteroids and comets that come at us from, behind the sun, basically, and we get 2-3 days of notice. Thankfully, none of those have ever been an issue. And so that's something that we're thankful about, as a species. That's good. We don't want another asteroid that, wipes out everything on the planet. Well, so if you've been watching the news lately, you may notice that there's an asteroid that they've discovered. And I think they discovered it at the end of last year. Not 100% sure. I'll put up the designation for it right there. Yep, that one. Don't you love how they named objects that might actually hit us? Not like it's Armageddon, you got Dottie, or Wolf Biederman from, what's it called, Deep Impact? Nothing like that. But, these asteroids. So this one, we discovered it, and we started looking at the orbit and everything, and it went from like, a 1 point something % chance of hitting us. And people were like, well, I mean, here's the thing, it's a non-zero chance, so, some eyebrows were raised about that in NASA and stuff. So we started looking at the orbit, and we're like, don't worry, we'll go through our standard kind of process for figuring out what's going on with this asteroid. And they started looking at it, and they said, yeah, it's got like a 1 in 64 chance of hitting us, okay? And that's not too alarming, That's not too alarming at all. But, we started looking at it more. And the way that we have to do this is, like, when it's close to us, this asteroid comes by us every 4 years, okay? And the thing about that is it doesn't give us, because we just discovered it, it doesn't give us a lot of chance to take a look at it, because this asteroid's supposed to hit us in 2028, okay? It's going to come back in 2032, sorry. It's going to come back in 2028, it's going to fly by us, and then it's going to go out into the solar system, and it's going to come back, and it's going to come by us again. Well, nice shot. All right, so the way that you do that is by observing it. Well, the problem is this thing goes flying out into space pretty soon, right? And we've been able to get some images and some telemetry on it, but we got to wait till it comes back. Unless we're really lucky and someone has photographed it before by accident, we find it, like in the records. Because again, we just discovered this thing, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been coming by, right? So if someone's discovered it before or seen it and didn't know what it was, we can look for that kind of data, go back, do a little bit more telemetry. Well, the biggest issue with that is we don't know about it yet. We're still looking for it. Actually, we've just started looking for it. Well, so trajectory is a funny thing because, like I said, it can be affected by all sorts of randomness in the universe. Okay, and it's amazing that we can like track something and that's coming towards us all the way back to where it came from. Well, this one's a little bit more difficult because, like I said, it's flying around. We just discovered it. It's going to go flying back out into space, and we won't be able to observe it really all that well until it comes back in 2028. Well, with the data and the measurements that they've taken so far, the chance of this asteroid hitting us has now doubled. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's more alarming than it was before. And this is news because, folks, we live in a world where news is kind of just absolute bullshit most of the time. I mean, you know that. You see the news. It's all stupid. Whoa, who's got this hairstyle? Who's wearing these clothes? You know, who called who what? Who used a word that we don't like, and so therefore we're going to go after it and put it in the international news for the globe. Just the stupidest stuff. Well, that's why I don't talk about it. But this one... News is a funny thing when it comes to asteroids because you get all these opinions, all these stories out there, and these are great because you can see what kind of paranoid person wrote the story, depending upon how the headline is. Like, you know, giant asteroid hurtling towards Earth might impact and, you know, cause widespread devastation. Well, let me break it down for you a little bit. Now, this asteroid is pretty big. It's not big enough that it's going to destroy the planet, so don't worry about that. But what it will do is if it hits the planet, it will hit in a specific line, all right? So let me see if I can get that image. All right, so you'll see that line that kind of cuts across the planet, and there's some pretty big population areas in that little section that might be hit. So what we have to do is start observing it more. Well, what if it hits one of those areas? Let me just kind of break that down. Now, I don't know the exact megaton like yield that it would have, but it is enough that, say, if it were to hit, I don't know, New York City, right? It would destroy New York City. It would destroy a nice chunk of area around New York City. It would kill a lot of people and cause billions of dollars. I mean, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of damage. And it would be it would be bad. Okay, I'm not lying. It would be very bad. But, you know, we would have plenty of time to go ahead and do evacuations and stuff. And this is considering that we would be able to track it effectively again in order to figure out what's going on. Now, we don't want to just sit here and go, well, you know, let's see let's see if it'll actually hit us, you know, the next time it comes around, 2028. And then, based on that, we'll make some ideas on how to maybe stop it or mitigate it or do something like that. Well, the problem is, this is an asteroid that's not big enough to just blow up. We don't want to do that, because if we blow it up, a whole bunch of chunks will come down and probably hit the Earth in more places than that little line. And then what happens is, well, you have to worry about, let's say, you know, the United States is the one that leads the charge on some sort of asteroid destruction mission, right? I.e. Armageddon, but we're not going to send up an oil. We're just going to send up a ship. Might be Starship. Just go out there, load it full of TNT, boom, right? Blow that thing up. Well, if the United States is the one that does that, and all those fragments come down and strike a dozen countries, what do we do? You know, who's at fault for that? Who do we blame in that situation? That's the rough part, because when you think about it, we have a few options, but we've never really thought about the whole plan all the way through. Now, I know NASA does a simulation every year where, Executioner's Sword. Let's bonk some people. I know every year they do an asteroid simulation where they say they go all the way from discovering the asteroid to it hitting the Earth, a little bit of the aftermath, but they don't really go into the full thought experiment of what happens in different situations. So in the situation where we shotgun the Earth with a bunch of like asteroid fragments, what do we do? Like, who do we go after for the boom, right? Do we just charge it to the World Bank? I mean, I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. But so we have to think about this thing and how we're going to redirect it or whatever. And the plans are already being made, folks. If you don't think that they're already starting to think about this, you're missing something, because they definitely don't want to be caught like, well, I mean, if only we had done this a few years ago. Well, they're doing it now, and they're coming up with plans. Some of the plans include the amazing gravity tractor, which is where you take a big spaceship and you park it off the side of the asteroid and follow it. And what that does is it tugs the asteroid slightly away, right, over time. And if you have enough time, you can completely redirect the asteroid. But what they're hoping for now is to try to kind of tweak it a little bit. If it's going to hit the planet, they're not going to be able to do a ton about it, except for, you know, some of the things like a solar sail or attach a rocket to it or park a spaceship next to it or just blow it up. Well, there are problems with each of those because some take a lot of time, some take a lot of resources and materials, some take a ton of planning and hoping that things will work. Like the gravity tractor idea. Okay, mathematically it seems to work out just fine. What if it doesn't? What if we get it out there, we get that spaceship out there, and we discover that it's not even coming close to redirecting it the way that we need it? What do we do? Right? Because we put all our eggs in that basket. Do we suddenly send, Elon's Starship out there loaded with nukes? What do we do? I don't know. So the thing is, we need to start really keeping track of this thing. We need to start really figuring out where this thing is going to hit, and more importantly, what we're going to do about it. So, do you have any ideas on how we could stop this asteroid? Let me know in the comments. Now, I don't want to leave you today with some crazy existential crisis, right? I don't want you to think that we're completely screwed and, what's going on, bro? I don't want you to think that we're completely screwed and that there's no use in living anymore and, oh my gosh, there's an asteroid coming and we're all going to be completely, I don't want you to leave today thinking about that. What I want you to leave today thinking about is that we as a species, as a race, humans on this planet, are so resourceful. We have so many ways of figuring stuff out. And there are a lot of smart people on this planet that are working on it. So don't worry. I might also be working on it too. Just kidding. I don't know anyone in NASA or anything. But maybe they'll call me one day. Orpheus, you need to help us. And I'll be there. Anyway, we will see you in the next one here on Orpheus Plays. I hope that was entertaining for you. But don't worry, that asteroid that is coming, so far it's a low percentage chance. That may get bigger in the future, but we don't know. If it does, I'll still be here to talk you through the entire thing because, like I said, that's the one news story that I will talk about here on this channel. We'll see you next time on Orpheus Plays. Be good, do good, treat yourself well because you deserve it. Bye!